When you hear somebody say they like vintage baby names, what like range of years are you thinking? Like where does your mind go with like vintage names? I was recently talking to a little tween and she was like, she asked how old I was and I told her and she's like, oh, so do you like have a job then? And I was telling her what I do on TikTok. At first she was very excited, thinking I was like a TikTok influencer type, doing like the fashion, beauty, all that stuff. I think she was like a little less interested in the baby name thing, but I was telling her, I was like, I do like the name consultations, I've got my vintage yearbooks, I love like thinking about vintage names and exploring those. And then she's like, I already know what I'm gonna name my babies, I like vintage names too. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what are you gonna call them? Like tell me. And she's like, yeah, I like names from the 1990s. Which I was like, yeah, that's like 25 plus years ago. I get it. But that's not, when she said vintage names, I thought she's going like real old school. She did say Courtney and Cassidy will be her girls and she will not be having boys. But it did lead me to wonder, what era are you thinking when you think vintage names? Or are you just thinking like any name before a certain point? Because I know like with clothing, that's kind of how it goes, if I'm not mistaken. Like if it's, I don't know, actually know the number, but like 30 plus years, then that clothing is technically vintage.